From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
And good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington. It's the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, he wants to see the small business owner get a larger piece of the pie. What's one Nevada congressional leader doing to strengthen Nevada's small business community? He's my guest today, Nevada U.S. Congressman Cresent Hardy. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. Well, as Nevada and this nation continues to emerge from the Great Recession, who has it tougher than you small business owners? Well, today on Eye on Washington, we'll discuss several federal efforts to give small business a big boost. We'll find out my guest works to help reduce negative impacts overburdensome regulations place on you all. And we'll learn how he's trying to provide better clarification for those of you wanting to hire contractors. And later, what he thinks is the top challenge facing the small business community today. Well, in 1980, Congress passed the Regulatory Flexibility Act. It required agencies to assess the impact of rules and regulations on small businesses and consider other alternatives. In the years since it was enacted, agencies have exploited loopholes to get around good government intentions of the original legislation. So my guest has pushed hard this year to get his colleagues to pass the Small Business Regulatory Flexibility Improvements Acts. Now, Congressman, you know, it's tough to thrive and be in small business simply when you're climbing out of a long recession, let alone when you're overburdened with government regulations. What does your Improvements Act do that the other act doesn't do, and kind of what led you to push for it?
Well, I don't know if far as the Improvements Act, I think it's the wrong statement. The one that I was pushing for is a Clarification Act.
Okay, we're going to get to that in the second segment, but as
improvements,
far as...
and if you want to go on the improvements, the REINS Act is
Sure.
is a big issue for us. I think that it helps if you understand that we have somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 regulations placed upon us yearly. With the REINS Act, it provides the opportunity for us to do our job here in Congress. If some kind of regulation costs this nation over $100 million a year annually, then it forces those administrations to have to look at it, and it has to have congressional and presidential approval. Those are important issues out there when it costs us our economy.
Now, you were a small business owner yourself before coming to Congress, of course, and I know you had to deal with some of the very rules and regulations that others are coming to you and among your constituents to worry about and complain about. Is that correct?
That's correct. You know, just in the construction industry, one of my frustrations is the NEPA policy. It takes sometimes, 6 to 8 years to get things approved, to move forward through this NEPA process, to open mines in our state, or to do certain things that I can't believe it takes anybody that long. We need to get back to those actions of state rights and to where states can do it a better job. They understand their area, so provide that opportunity.
You know, you've mentioned to my statewide audience before, right here on Eye on Washington, that helping small business owners was one of the priorities, one of the reasons you ran and came to Congress, because you've said that small business is what leads to a strong economy, that's the crucial backbone.
64% of this nation is employed by small businesses, the last statistic that I read. Small businesses are declining faster than they ever have. We've lost over 100,000 small businesses recently through some of the regulations, I believe, is the process that's causing it. Small business is the engine that helps this country move. It's the engine that provides that opportunity of creation and innovativeness. Big businesses feed off those small businesses. So,
since you're a small business owner yourself, I'm sure you have a lot of friends also that are anything from small business corporations to sole proprietors to, you know, everything in between. A lot of employees, a handful of employees, but they're all hiring people, helping people get feed their families, be able to get homes, etc. So I'm sure that your business friends as well have a lot of frustrations when they think of the federal government and rules imposed by their business. What are some examples of problems you hear from your friends at home?
Some of the problems and challenges they have through the regulatory process is it continues to cost them more money to hire people that understand it. When you start having to hire a bigger legal staff than you are doing to focus on the work at hand, just to give you an example, this year before we left for recess, the end of July, we'd received over 45,000 pages of new regulations since January. And with that, we don't know how many new regulations that's going to create, but 45,000, that's 600 pages a day. Last year, we had 77,000 pages of new regulations. We had 3,280 some odd, or 3,280
on top
some
of
odd
the ones that are
already there. People can't keep up with the regulations that were done last year, let alone what is going on today. We're basically making criminals out of people, and they don't even know they're doing something wrong.
That's what I was going to say. You could end up as a small business owner. I'm a small business owner.
Mm-hmm.
You could end up as a small business over breaking a rule you didn't even know existed.
Absolutely, and it's a continuing process, and we're set to go for records this year. And this administration, I believe, over the next year and a half, are just going to continue to go this process. I can talk of a number of other issues. Just recently, this week, we had a hearing, and it's basically blacklisting what I believe a small business through the process of what they deemed to be the right thing to do. It actually is going to alienate those small businesses by saying that you've potentially committed a crime, but you cannot do work for the federal government if you haven't done certain things.
We might pick that up.
And you don't even know what's
Wow.
going on there. So.
We're out of time for this segment, but we might, when we come back, I might ask you more about that. When we return, do small businesses have a harder time competing for federal contracts? Well, my guest says yes, they do, and he's out to change it. That's next.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Boyd Gaming, NB Energy, the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada, Rogich Communications Group, and Jim Marsh Automotive. Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Call this free government program for the option that's right for you.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington and our discussion of efforts to level the playing field to help you small business owners grow and thrive. My guest today is helping you do just that. His name is Cresent Hardy. So, How do you help small business and support the military at the same time? Well, Congressman Hardy says one big way to do so is to make it easier for small business leaders to compete for military-focused government contracts. And his Small Business Contractors Clarification Act aims to do just that. The bill solidifies the non-manufacturers rule so that service contracts do not have to meet the same small business requirements as manufactured good contracts. Now, speaking of the congressman's bill, Small Business Committee Chairman Steve Shobo said, quote, "It improves quality, reduces costs, and ensures we have a robust industrial base supporting our military." And Congressman, in March, you and other committee members, you testified about this before the House Armed Services Committee, and you said that your contracting reform idea is the only real way to increase small business participation rates. Tell us about it.
Well, what it does is it clarifies the difference between manufacturing and service. I think when your intro, when you talked about so many things that have been worked around to disenfranchise small business, this is one of those areas where the justice system continues to mix the two. They're not the same. For me to go out and build a structure is not the same as me supplying the structure. And so when you try to add those two together, only big business has the capability of doing that.
So heretofore, goods and services were seen the same as?
Yes, goods and services. So if you were to build the structure, they want the small business to also be able to manufacture that structure. Or if you were to do a structure or do some project that required supplying the furnishings with it, they wanted to make sure that they were having the understanding that you had to build that furniture on top of building the building, and that doesn't happen in reality.
So in a press statement, you said your bill would, quote, "pave the way for better opportunities for businesses in the 4th Congressional District and all across the nation." Again, what makes it harder now for a small business owner to have a shot at those lucrative contracts? Is it mostly that they're seen as the same as goods, or what else makes it harder?
There's a number of issues that are happening out there.
They're just not considered first either, correct?
They're not just not at the top of the list. You know, right now there's $240 million worth of contracts that's over the next year that we lit in the Nellis testing training range area. Most of those are by big employment folks, unless they bring a subcontractor in to work with them. But that doesn't always happen. This clarification provides that opportunity for that architect to be the designer and the builder and the erector with a coordination together for small businesses, working, collaborating together. There's also other opportunities out there, like I was talking earlier, about this blacklisting. I think it's another opportunity to create opportunities for big business and big labor, and leaves out the small business folks. By, like I said, you may have not even known you violated something, and all of a sudden somebody tells you violate, and you're taken off the list. You cannot bid on a project. That hurts small business.
Well, where do you see that, what you're calling this effort to blacklist, this effort, where do you see it going?
We actually had the hearing on it this week. It was good that both parties stepped up the plate, had good questions to the administration about it, and had concerns about it. Being the chair of that committee, I was frustrated leaving there. I didn't feel like that the administration was really listening to what we had to say. They're going to continue to do because they think they're doing the right thing.
Is it going to get pushed through? I mean, what?
I think it comes down to administration. That's one of the things that happens with the REINS Act. It makes sure that if it's going to have a $100 million impact to business over annually, that it has to go and get approval from Congress and the President. That's a good thing. That puts us back in the loop. That puts us back and the people being in control. It also requires them to have to deal with those same people that it impacts and have hearings and policy understanding of what the impact is.
You know, back to your the Clarification Act that you're behind. What were you hearing from District 4 constituents about the difficulty getting military contracts? Oh,
I've met with the chambers and a few other folks out in the district. It's a major concern of the frustration for them to be able to obtain that ability to have that opportunity that puts them out there in that forefront over time. You know, it's all right to be a subcontractor, but everybody wants to be the leader of their own team someday, not always have to be subservient to somebody else.
Good luck with the bill. I hope it leads to not only your constituents, but all Nevada businesses getting more of those contracts.
The bill is NDAA. It's in that package, and if it's all been approved by both sides of the House, and hopefully the President will sign it here real soon. So.
Cross your fingers, right?
That's all we can do.
And when we return, hey, you veteran entrepreneurs, you want a larger small business loan with a waived fee? We have good news. It's coming next.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
I was the first woman ever to deploy on a Strategic Air Command deployment.
You didn't just serve your country.
I lobbied for women to be on board submarines.
You paved the way for others.
I joined the Army because I wanted a challenge.
And the challenges you face now? Your VA delivers a variety of benefits. Learn more, including how to apply online using e-benefits.
No matter what time it is, you've earned them. Apply today.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of how one Nevada leader is working to put some more big dollars in the pocket of small business owners. We've been visiting with him today right here, Nevada U.S. Congressman Cresent Hardy. Well, it is about to get easier for you veteran small business owners to apply for a loan. My guest is among those who helped push through to passage the Veterans Entrepreneurship Act. The bill waives upfront fees for veterans applying for express loans through the Small Business Administration. It additionally raises the program's lending authority from $18.75 billion to $23.5 billion through the end of this fiscal year. And there's a provision stating the FBA must communicate with Congress more consistently and quickly before that limit is reached, so that there is no temporary suspension of the program. So your Small Business Committee colleague, Jean Shaheen, she called this the most in-demand loan program. Tell us more about why you are an advocate of the legislation to help our veterans.
You know, we have so many veterans coming home now that have been trained in certain aspects of all different fields. We're looking to get this economy moving again. What better people to put out there and give them the opportunity with their skills that they've come home with and the leadership that they've obtained to help them start that small business back to where they employ people and put them back to work.
So basically, it helps small veteran small businesses get that needed access to some express capital with zero interest on the loan. Is that right?
Basically, it waives fees. The
right, zero upfront freeze is what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so it waives that fee. It doesn't give them anything other than
right. I didn't mean interest. The fees exactly.
Yeah. They come out of the service. They have this opportunity. They have to come forward with a business plan like anybody else, but it waives that administrative fee.
It's kind of a upfront kickoff to sort of help you get started. Probably mean a lot for the veterans in Nevada.
I don't know of any military people that come home with a big load of cash in their pocket. And so this gives them the opportunity, and I believe it benefits them in a number of ways. Once these veterans get back to work and start creating business and put them in that leadership role, it maybe helps them through some of those challenges that they have when they return to society.
You know, with a bit of time remaining, let's mention another bill that recently passed the House, but which the White House already is threatening to veto, and that's the Small Business Tax Relief Act. It seems like you're trying to provide some tax relief to businesses, and it might not go through anyway.
You know, big businesses have spent years getting all kinds of tax opportunities and tax breaks. Small businesses seem to have to go through the gamut and continue to have to pull out of their own pocket.
Yep.
They invest, and sometimes they have challenge in their investment. It's not a handout either. It's a way of giving a little relief to get things moving and get the process maybe exciting the market again someday.
Yeah, the background on that was that I have in my research, in 2013, businesses could write off some capital investments up to $500,000 per investment, a total of $2 million, but that expired and the limit dropped to $25,000 per and a total of only $200,000. Your House bill would have made that 2013 amount, the big amount for small businesses, permanent, but again, it's being challenged. Might be tossed out by...
I don't want to go into the attitude of what I believe happens, but you know, I think that there's so many unforeseen things that are happening from this administration. Without bringing in people of knowledge and understanding in the field, to an expert, so to speak, to come up with your own regulatory ideas on your own is an injustice to anybody in this country.
Well, you can cross your fingers for the business person. It might not get vetoed. You know, supporters do say, though, it would help small business owners more easily make business decisions when things aren't so uncertain, when they know, you know, how much they're going to be able to write off, how much
absolutely
is the total.
They have
it
to
fluctuates year to year, goes from, you know, 500,000 down to 25,000.
They have to know early in advance. We can't wait at the end of every year. These folks invest in new equipment. As a business owner myself, you're continually putting your money back in. But if you can't afford and get some kind of break to move it, and it benefits, it's a trickle-down effect. Those manufacturers of those goods, those suppliers of those things that we utilize, actually, rather than letting them dilapidate, we get the opportunity to maybe upgrade and compete with the rest of the world.
There you go. And when we come back with our final segment, what does my guest say is the best thing Congress could do to make things easier for you small business owners? We're going to ask him right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Nevada's direct link to Capitol Hill. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. The only statewide Nevada news show based in Washington, D.C. All the top federal matters that matter most to Nevadans. Marilee talks with our congressional delegation and other leaders about the federal news you need to know. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Nevada's Eye on Capitol Hill.
It's already rented.
If you believe you've been discriminated against in housing because of your race, color, religion, national origin, sex, familial status, or disability, call HUD or visit hud.gov/fair housing. Fair housing is your right. Use it.
Having your child hospitalized can be a terrifying experience for any parent. In one moment, everything can change. Here at the Reno Ronald McDonald House, we can help. We keep families together when it matters the most by providing a home away from home for families with children in the hospital. Parents who stay at the Ronald McDonald House have more time with their children during the healing process. Please contact us today for more information and to see how you can help. Donate online at rmhc-reno.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
And we are back with our closing segment of today's Eye on Washington. So if you own a business, I hope you've been encouraged with some of the news that we've shared here today about my guest's hard work on the Hill to help you out. Congressman, I want to close with this. What do you believe is the top challenge facing Nevada small business owners and owners across this nation? And what do you think Congress could do to help solve it?
I think the word more, or less is more, is the word that I'd like to use today. We need to stop doing as much as we're doing here and do a little bit less. And we need to be on equal partnership with the states.
When you say do a little less, you mean let small business alone, don't give 45,000 more pages of regulations?
I mean, let's stay out of the way of those rights that the states were given by our founding fathers. Okay. Let's be on an equal, let's be a team rather than the overreach of the federal government.
And explain how that affects
we continually
small business.
overreach, and we come up one size fits all in this place on the Hill.
Okay.
Everybody thinks one thing fits everybody, and it doesn't. Our founding fathers had it right. We need to work together with states. They are the innovators. They are the entrepreneurs that can create that that opportunity of growth in industry. So we need to help them through that process and stay out of their way, do what we're supposed to do here on the Hill, and be equal partners instead.
And that'll benefit small business as well?
Absolutely. When those states have that opportunity and we stay out of their way, and let them do what they do best.
Worry about regulating business.
Absolutely.
Or not. Okay, thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Hope I see you soon.
Thank you.
That does wrap up this week's Eye on Washington. Be sure to join us next time as we discuss more important federal matters and their impact on you in Nevada. You can visit joycecommunications.com or our Facebook page for more of the very latest from the Hill that impacts your life in Nevada. Follow me on Twitter for and watch any missed Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce shows that you might have missed on YouTube. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Hope you have a great day today.